"Sir, the booth is full," the waitress said gently, but he just gave a tight nod. "That's fine," he murmured, lowering himself into the red leather seat as if it took all his strength just to sit. Steam curled up from the bowl of soup in front of him, untouched. His uniform clung to him, still damp from the rain outside, the name patch reading Walker just above his chest. He didn't look around, didn't glance at the menu. He just sat there, silent, stiff, and alone. The toy car on the table in front of him wasn't just a distraction, it was the only thing grounding him. Outside the window, the rain poured like grief. Neon signs blinked above the diner, blue and pink and tired. That's when she appeared. A woman soaked through, holding a toddler tightly under the glow of the flickering sign. She stared through the window as if debating whether to come in. Her lips moved slightly, whispering something to the child. The boy clung to her shoulder, head drooping. She looked exhausted and hungry. When she finally stepped inside, the bell above the door jingled faintly. She looked around quickly, scanning for open seats. Nothing. Every booth was packed, the bar stools were taken. She hesitated until her eyes met his, and then softly, unsure, she walked over. "I'm sorry to bother you," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "My son's hungry. Would it be okay if we sat with you?" Walker looked up slowly. For a second, the weight behind his eyes said he was still on another continent. But something about the little boy's flushed cheeks, the rain dripping from his tiny jacket, it broke through. He nodded once. "Yeah, sure." She sat opposite him, cradling the boy in her arms as he leaned into her chest. A waitress came over quickly, surprised but polite, and placed 2 cups of water down without asking. The mother whispered thanks. Walker finally reached for his spoon. They ate in silence at first, if you could call what he was doing eating. He stirred more than he sipped. The child perked up with the warmth of a grilled cheese, his tiny hands grasping at the crusts eagerly. Then she spoke again. "Thank you. Really, we've been out all day." Shelter was full. He hasn't had a real meal since yesterday. Walker paused. "What's his name?" "Eli." He nodded. "Cute kid." She smiled faintly. "What about you? Coming home or heading out?" His jaw tightened slightly. "Home, I think." She tilted her head, sensing the weight in his answer. He didn't offer more, and she didn't push. But the silence between them was different now, not empty. Shared. Then slowly, as the rain drummed softly outside, the story came out. Bit by bit. Word by word. She told him how Eli's father left when she was pregnant. How she worked nights to keep food on the table, how one bad fall at work wrecked her back and her job with it. Now she cleaned motels when she could, slept wherever people would let her, and did everything she could to make sure Eli never felt what she did. Unwanted. Walker sat quietly for a long moment, then glanced at the toy car beside his soup. "My son would have been 3 this year," he said. Her eyes widened, lips parting. "Would have?" "Yeah." He looked down. His mum didn't wait. "Moved on when I got deployed again. Met someone else. Didn't tell me until months after. I missed the birth. Missed his first steps. Then one day I got a message. She said they were leaving the country. Said it was easier this way. No confusion, no visits, no rights." She didn't know what to say. So she didn't. She just looked at him with eyes that didn't pity him, but understood. And then the boy, Eli, reached for the little toy car on the table. Walker didn't stop him. He just smiled gently as the child rolled it back and forth, giggling. For the first time that night, Walker smiled too. Not the kind you fake for strangers, but the kind that hurts a little. The kind that heals. By the time they were done eating, the rain had slowed to a soft patter. The booths around them began to empty. The mother started to gather their things. "Thank you again," she said softly. Walker stood and pulled a folded envelope from inside his jacket. He hesitated, then handed it to her. She opened it slowly. Her breath caught. Inside was a stack of bills. Not a fortune, but enough to cover groceries, shelter, and maybe even a few weeks of peace. She looked up, stunned. "I can't—" "You're not taking charity," he interrupted. "You're giving me something too." She frowned, confused. "What could I possibly give you?" He looked down at Eli, who was still playing with the toy car. A reminder that not everything we lose stays gone. Sometimes, it just finds its way back to us in another form. Tears welled in her eyes. She reached out, not just to return the car, but to shake his hand. He took it firmly. As they walked out the door, Walker watched them disappear into the misty sidewalk, mother and child holding each other close. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like he was returning to an empty home. He felt like he had left a piece of himself in better hands. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.